Minor contract law presents a fascinating area of legal complexity. Contracts with minors are generally voidable at the minor's discretion, creating significant implications for anyone entering agreements with those under the age of majority. The doctrine of infancy forms the foundation of minor contract law. This principle recognizes that minors, typically those under 18 years old, lack the full legal capacity to enter binding agreements. This protection exists because the law presumes minors lack the maturity and experience to fully understand contractual obligations. When we say a contract is voidable, it means one party can choose to cancel or enforce it. In contracts with minors, this option belongs exclusively to the minor, not the adult party. This creates an uneven playing field where adults enter such agreements at their own risk. Not all contracts with minors can be voided, however. Several important exceptions exist. Contracts for necessaries, including food, shelter, medical care, and education, remain enforceable. Military contracts, banking regulations, and tax obligations also bind minors despite their age. Employment contracts represent another significant exception, particularly in the entertainment industry. Courts often approve these agreements to prevent later voidance, especially when substantial investments depend on the minor's performance or participation. Real-world cases illustrate how courts apply these principles. In Nash v. Inman from 1908, a minor purchased expensive clothing from a tailor. The court ruled this contract unenforceable since the minor already owned sufficient clothing, making these new items non-necessities. Doyle v. Giuliucci from 1965 demonstrates how sports contracts can bind minors. The California court upheld a baseball contract signed by a minor because it had received court approval, making it one of the exceptions to the voidability rule. Halbman v. Lemke from 1980 involved a 17-year-old who purchased a used car and later disaffirmed the contract. The court allowed the disaffirmance and did not require restitution despite the vehicle's deterioration, reinforcing the minor's right to rescind. Misrepresentation by minors adds another layer of complexity. If a minor falsely claims to be of legal age, many courts still allow contract voidance. The protection of minors typically outweighs concerns about deception, though some jurisdictions may require restitution to prevent unfair enrichment. When minors choose to void a contract, they must void the entire agreement, not just selected parts. This disaffirmance can occur through a lawsuit requesting the court void the contract, or as a defense when sued for contract violation. Timing matters significantly in contract disaffirmance. Once a minor reaches the age of majority, they must act within a reasonable time frame to void existing contracts. Delay or continued use of contract benefits may constitute ratification, making the contract fully enforceable. The method of disaffirmance can be oral, written, or through actions clearly rejecting the contract. However, if the minor retains goods or continues using services after reaching majority age, courts may interpret this as ratification rather than rejection. Understanding minor contract law helps both businesses and young people navigate potential agreements. While the law generally protects minors from potentially exploitative contracts, exceptions ensure that necessary services remain available to them and prevent abuse of these protections. The balance between protecting minors and maintaining fair commercial practices continues to evolve through case law. Each jurisdiction may interpret these principles differently, making it essential to understand local regulations when entering agreements with those under the age of majority.